When a woman is deeply in love, she doesn't always express it in the way you expect. In fact, sometimes her silence, her distance, and even her moments of withdrawal are not signs of indifference. They're signs of emotional intensity that she's struggling to manage. You might see her ignoring your messages, taking longer to reply, or acting like she's suddenly busy. But behind that quietness, there's a storm of emotion that she doesn't know how to put into words. When love runs deep, it also runs scary. And for many women, that fear makes them pull back, not because they've stopped caring, but because they care too much. You see, when a woman feels something powerful, something real, she starts to feel vulnerable. Vulnerability is not easy for anyone, but for a woman who's been hurt before or who's afraid of losing herself in love again, it's terrifying. So she protects herself the only way she knows how, by stepping back, by pretending she's fine, by ignoring you just enough to remind herself that she's still in control. It's not about manipulation, it's about survival. Her silence is her armor. Her distance is her defense, because love, to her, is not just butterflies and warmth. It's a risk that could break her heart. She ignores you because she's processing everything. The way you look at her, the way you speak, the way you make her feel seen and unsafe at the same time. You've touched something inside her that she wasn't ready to confront. That's why she acts distant, not because she's lost interest, but because she's overwhelmed by how much interest she has. Love that runs deep doesn't always flow smoothly. Sometimes it comes with confusion, with hesitation, with silence. Women are emotional beings, yes, but that doesn't mean they wear every emotion on their sleeves. When she ignores you, she's trying to figure out what's real. She's trying to test her heart to see if it's love or just attachment, if it's connection or illusion. She doesn't want to be swept away by her emotions only to wake up later realizing it was one-sided. She wants to be sure. And to be sure, she needs space, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much to rush. In the moments she's quiet, she's observing you. She's studying your reactions. She's watching how you handle her silence, how patient you are when she seems distant, how genuine your intentions are when you're not getting constant attention. She's testing not through words, but through distance. Because when a woman truly loves, she wants to feel safe, not just emotionally, but mentally and spiritually. Her silence is a way of asking, can you handle me at my most uncertain? A woman who's deeply in love might not always say what she feels. She might downplay her emotions because she fears being too much. She fears giving too much and receiving too little. So instead of chasing you, she chooses stillness. Instead of confessing her feelings, she builds walls. But those walls are not to keep you out. They're to see if you care enough to stay. Every time she ignores you, she's not ending something. She's giving herself time to breathe, to balance her emotions, to understand if this love is worth surrendering her peace for. Sometimes love feels like losing control, and that's what frightens her the most. You might see her as calm, strong and independent, but inside she's battling questions like, will he hurt me? Will he still want me when he sees all my flaws? Is this love real or just temporary? Her silence is not rejection, it's reflection. It's her way of finding clarity before she gives you her heart completely. You see, love changes everything for a woman. It makes her softer, but it also makes her cautious. The deeper she feels, the quieter she becomes. Because she's no longer trying to impress, she's trying to protect. That's why sometimes she'll withdraw after moments of closeness. Maybe you shared a deep conversation. Maybe you looked into her eyes a little too long. Maybe you said something that reached her heart. And suddenly she's gone quiet. That silence is not indifference. It's her soul whispering, this is real and I need to make sure I'm ready. When a woman ignores you while being deeply in love, she's actually fighting herself. One part of her wants to open up completely, to text you first, to see you again, to tell you how much she feels. The other part of her whispers, don't be too available. Don't make him think you're desperate. Don't lose your worth. So she stays silent, torn between emotion and logic. And in that silence, she hopes you'll understand that she's not pushing you away. She's trying to find her balance. She ignores you because love is not light for her. It's weight. It's responsibility. It's depth. It's something that requires emotional courage, and she's making sure she has enough of it. Because when she finally decides to show up, she'll give you all of her. No half measures, no games, no pretense. Her distance now is a sign of the loyalty she's preparing to give later. Sometimes she ignores you because she doesn't know how to handle the intensity of what she feels. When she's deeply in love, every text from you hits differently. Every word matters. Every pause makes her overthink. And overthinking makes her retreat. She's trying to calm the chaos in her heart. Her ignoring you is her way of keeping herself from diving too fast, too deep. Because she knows what happens when she loves without restraint, she loses herself. And this time, she wants to love without losing her sense of self. You might think she's cold. You might feel like she's lost interest. But if you look closer, you'll notice she still pays attention in subtle ways. She still remembers what you said. She still notices your moods. She still shows care, just from a distance. Her silence is loud if you listen carefully, because love, when real, doesn't always need words. It's often found in what's unspoken, in glances, in timing, in the energy between two people who are both afraid of breaking what's already fragile. She ignores you not to punish you, but to preserve herself. She's giving you, and herself, the space to let love mature, because she knows real love doesn't rush. It doesn't demand constant validation. It grows quietly. Her distance is not disinterest, it's discipline. It's her way of keeping things pure, authentic, unforced. She knows that if she lets her emotions take full control, she might scare you away, or worse, lose herself again in the process. There's also another truth. When a woman loves deeply, she starts to feel unworthy of that love. She wonders if she's enough. She questions whether you'll still choose her when the newness fades. Her silence becomes a conversation with herself, not with you. She's trying to convince herself that she's worthy of what she feels. That's why sometimes she disappears, not to forget you, but to find herself again. You see, women who ignore when in love are not cold. They're complex. They love differently. They love deeply, but they love with awareness. They've learned that love without boundaries can lead to heartbreak, and they're not willing to repeat that lesson. So when she goes quiet, it's not the end. It's a pause, a moment of self-check, a deep breath before she takes the next emotional step. Sometimes she ignores you because she's trying to see if your connection goes beyond words. Can you still feel her presence when she's silent? Can you still care when she's not constantly available? Can you still hold space for her when she's distant? Because if you can, that's when she knows this love is safe. This love is real. The more deeply she loves, the more she fears losing that love. That's why she acts distant, because her heart is too full and she doesn't want to mess it up. She's not ignoring you because she's tired of you. She's ignoring you because you matter too much. Because she wants to protect the very thing that's making her heart race. Every woman has her own way of showing love. For some, it's through attention and affection. For others, it's through silence and patience. The ones who ignore you when they're deeply in love are the ones who love with depth. They don't play game, they just feel too much. Their quietness is not emptiness, it's fullness contained. When she finally stops ignoring you, when she finally lets you in again, you'll feel the depth of everything she held back. You'll see it in her eyes, hear it in her voice, and feel it in the way she's now open, trusting, and unguarded. Because her silence wasn't rejection, it was preparation. She was preparing to love you completely once she was sure it was safe. So if she's ignoring you right now, don't chase her in panic. Don't pressure her to explain. Just understand that silence sometimes speaks louder than words. Give her space to breathe, to feel, to trust the process. Because when she returns, and she will, if it's real, she won't come halfway. She'll come with her heart in her hands, ready to love you like she's never loved before. When a woman ignores you while she's deeply in love, it's not the absence of love, it's the presence of depth, fear, and emotion all tangled into something she's still learning to handle. Her silence is not an ending. It's a reflection of the magnitude of what she feels. Because real love isn't loud. It's quiet, patient, and sometimes hidden behind the silence of someone who feels too deeply to speak. When she begins to ignore you, you start to question everything. You wonder what changed, what you did wrong, or what caused the distance. But the truth is, sometimes nothing went wrong. Sometimes she just needs space to understand what she's feeling. Because when a woman's emotions run deep, they become almost too heavy to carry openly. She feels everything, the excitement, the longing, the fear, the vulnerability, all at once. And that intensity can be overwhelming. So she hides not because she doesn't love you, but because love to her is no longer something simple. It becomes a mirror reflecting parts of herself she didn't know existed, and that realization can be both beautiful and frightening. She ignores you because she's replaying every word you said in her mind. She's analyzing your tone, your gestures, your consistency. She's not ignoring to be cruel. She's trying to make sense of you. She's asking herself if you mean what you say, if your actions match your promises. A woman who's deeply in love doesn't just give her heart away. She studies you carefully before surrendering completely. Her silence is full of thoughts. She might seem distant, but inside she's building emotional clarity. She's thinking, can I trust him with my softness? Can I let my walls down without regret? A deeply loving woman doesn't ignore because she wants to hurt you. She ignores because she wants to protect the connection from being ruined by her own insecurities. She's trying to calm the part of her that wants constant reassurance, the part that needs to feel safe before she lets go completely. Sometimes she knows she's on the edge of falling too fast, too hard, and she steps back to slow it down, to make sure what she's feeling isn't just fantasy. Her silence might confuse you, but it's often her way of listening, not to you, but to her intuition. She's tuning into her inner voice that says, wait, watch, feel. Women are naturally intuitive. They can sense energy and sincerity before words even come out. That's why she withdraws, to observe the energy behind your effort. When she ignores you, she's watching to see if you'll still care when she's quiet, if you'll still choose her when she's not performing affection, if you'll still reach out, not because she asked, but because you genuinely miss her presence. She might post less, talk less, or seem emotionally unavailable, but that's because she's retreating inward. Deep love pulls her into reflection. She begins questioning her own emotions. Why do I care so much? Why does he affect me like this? Why can't I stop thinking about him? She doesn't ignore because she's done. She ignores because she's lost in thought. She's feeling everything too deeply, and she needs to ground herself before she gets swept away. Sometimes she's been through situations where love felt one-sided, where she gave and gave until there was nothing left. And now that she feels this new intensity, her heart remembers the pain of the past. That memory makes her cautious. She tells herself, I can't go through that again. So she holds back. Her silence becomes her form of self-preservation. It's not rejection, it's healing in progress. She's making sure this love won't drain her, that this time she's giving from a place of peace, not desperation. When she ignores you, she's also testing her independence. She wants to know that her identity isn't disappearing in her emotions. Deep love can make her feel consumed, like her world is revolving around you. And that scares her, because she's worked too hard to build her sense of self. She might pull away to remind herself that she's still her own person, that she can stand strong even while loving deeply. It's not about punishing you, it's about protecting her personal strength. Sometimes she ignores you because she's afraid that her intensity will push you away. She knows how powerful her emotions can be. She knows how deeply she loves. And she worries that if she shows it all too soon, you might not understand it. So she hides the full force of her feelings behind silence. It's her way of saying, I love you, but I need to make sure this love is safe to show. Because for her, love is not just affection, it's surrender, and surrender requires trust. You might notice her pulling back after moments of closeness. That's not inconsistency, that's self-regulation. When she feels herself getting too attached, too dependent on your energy, she retreats to regain balance. She wants to make sure she's not losing herself in you. Because the truth is, deep love feels like losing control, and losing control terrifies her. She needs to know that her emotions aren't blinding her to reality. She ignores you because she's learning how to navigate the unfamiliar territory of emotional depth. Maybe you make her feel something she hasn't felt before, a peace she can't explain, a connection that feels spiritual. That kind of love doesn't fit neatly into logic, and that's what confuses her. So instead of expressing everything, she chooses silence until her heart catches up with her mind. Her ignoring you can also be a reflection of her fear of loss. When she loves deeply, she automatically fears losing what she loves. And that fear can make her act distant. It's like her heart is saying, if I detach now, maybe it won't hurt later. But the irony is that her distance hurts her too. She misses you while pretending she doesn't. She waits for your message while convincing herself she shouldn't. She ignores you outwardly, but inwardly she's fighting the urge to reach out. That's the emotional battle of a woman who loves deeply but cautiously. Sometimes she ignores because she wants to feel your presence without chasing it. She wants to know if you'll notice the silence, if you'll sense her absence. It's not a game, it's reassurance. She's silently asking, do I matter when I'm not available? Will he still care when I'm quiet? She doesn't need you to say much. She just needs to feel that your energy is consistent. A deeply loving woman will often withdraw when her emotions surpass her understanding. She needs quiet to feel safe. She ignores you because words feel inadequate. She might write about you in her journal, think about you before bed, or smile when she remembers something small you did. Yet, still, she won't text. Her silence is not a lack of feeling. It's too much feeling. She's trying to contain what overflows. You might interpret her silence as indifference, but what she's actually doing is giving herself permission to feel without acting impulsively. She's learning how to balance emotion with logic. She's trying to love without losing herself, to express affection without surrendering all control. For ignoring you is not absence, it's emotional regulation. It's her way of making sure she's strong enough to love the right way. When a woman loves deeply, she doesn't just think about the present, she thinks about the future. She imagines what it would mean to truly open her heart. She sees beyond dates and conversations. She sees potential, and that scares her because potential means responsibility. Potential means the possibility of heartbreak. And so she ignores, not to avoid love, but to prepare for it. Her ignoring you is often misunderstood by men who equate silence with disinterest. But for a woman with emotional depth, silence is a language. She's communicating caution, vulnerability, hope, and fear all at once. It's a paradox. The more she loves, the quieter she becomes. Because she's learning that sometimes love doesn't need noise. It needs understanding. It needs stillness. She might appear strong and unbothered, but inside, her heart is loud. Every time she ignores you, she feels it. Every time she scrolls past your name and decides not to text, it hurts her too. But she does it anyway because she believes if she can survive the silence, then the connection is real. If it can endure distance, then it's built on something solid. Sometimes she ignores because she's overwhelmed by gratitude. When love feels too good, too pure, it almost doesn't feel real. So she pulls back to test it, to see if it's as genuine as it feels. She's making sure it's not an illusion. She's protecting herself from disappointment. Her heart has learned that not every connection deserves full access to her emotions, so she waits quietly watching. There are moments when she'll read your message and not respond, not because she doesn't want to, because her reply feels too emotionally heavy for a text. She needs to feel grounded before she answers, because she knows her words carry emotion. She wants to speak from clarity, not confusion. Her silence, therefore, becomes her truth. Not cold, but careful. You might think she's ignoring you because she's bored, but if you look closely, you'll see that her eyes still soften when she sees your name. Her energy still shifts when she thinks of you. That's not boredom, that's restraint. She's practicing patience with her own emotions. She's learning how to love without losing her calm. A woman's silence when in love is sacred. It's where she processes everything she can't yet say. It's where she heals from past wounds before letting a new love in. It's where she reminds herself that love should enhance, not consume. When she ignores you, she's in that space, that quiet place between fear and desire, between longing and self-protection. And while it might feel confusing, her silence is often the most honest thing she can offer, because only a woman who feels deeply enough to be afraid of love can love truly when she's ready. Only a woman who takes her time in silence can give her heart with sincerity later. Her ignoring you is not a goodbye. It's a pause in her own emotional story, a moment to breathe before she writes the next chapter with you. So every time she ignores you, remember that love for her is not something she takes lightly. She ignores because she's feeling too much, not too little. She ignores because she's trying to protect both of you from the chaos of emotions that come with depth. Her silence is her strength. Her distance is her honesty. And when she's ready, when her heart feels safe, when her mind feels clear, she will come back, not as someone uncertain, but as someone who's ready to love you with every part of her that she once tried to hide behind the silence. And when she finally does return from that silence, something in her energy will shift. You'll notice that she's calmer, more sure of herself, more intentional with her words and her presence. Because during that period of distance, she wasn't forgetting you. She was learning how to love you the right way. She was learning how to quiet her fears, how to trust her instincts, and how to allow love to exist without constantly doubting it. Her ignoring you was never a rejection, it was a reset. She needed that time to remember who she is outside of her emotions for you, so that when she stands beside you, she's whole, not half. When a woman ignores you while loving you deeply, she's not walking away from love. She's walking closer to truth. She's making sure that what she feels isn't just infatuation, but something real that can withstand silence, time, and distance. Her quiet moments are not the end of the story. They are the foundation being built quietly, carefully, with intention. Because when she chooses to speak again, her words will no longer come from uncertainty. They'll come from a place of peace, depth, and unwavering love that has already survived her silence.